You are in showbiz. Ooh, all right.
Oh, God. Oh,
boy.
all right, madam.
Got it, lady.
Leave meeting. I love the option is like, oh shit, someone's recording this.
I got my pants down. Gotta leave.
Run.
Tubing, everybody's tubing. If you're tubing, now's your chance to get out before it's too late.
I want to go tubing so bad.
No, I meant Jeffrey Tubin, the guy who was caught masturbating in his.
Oh,
that's what he meant.
That's, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That is what he meant.
Who knows?
What did you think I meant?
Bryce, is your QuickTime recording?
Yes.
So we're all rolling all around?
Yep, it's rolling.
Okay,
we're gonna leave in all this for the patrons so they can see.
Bonus.
Guys, this is special bonus material just for you, our dear Patreons. And we're gonna do some shout outs for you new listeners at the very end of this episode too. So stick around. You might hear your name if you're new. Okay, guys, ready?
No. I'm gonna go 3, 2, 1, and we're all gonna clap at the same time. And then I'm gonna have sort of a reference. Are you ready for this? Is a fun game. 3, 2, 1. That was so bad. Let's try one more time.
Mine was so quiet.
3, 2, 1. That was pretty good. All right. Closer. Good enough. I'll be able to line it up. All right.
As good as our BCC news.
Jen, I'm loving that.
It's Bigfoot Collectors Club with Bryce and Michael.
Jennifer, are you engaged?
I got engaged. I got
Oh my God.
10 years ago at Nordstrom's, and I just
I know
decided
a
to put
ghost
it on.
story or two.
I'm getting yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we get into it?
Let's do this.
Well, hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Bigfoot Collectors Club, the show where we talk to amazing guests about their personal paranormal history and share stories of high strangeness. I am your host, Michael McMillan. With me always is your other host,
Bryce Johnson.
And our super producer,
Riley Bray.
And Wet Hot Alien Summer 2 Summer Abduction is back. And it's about to get hotter than ever.
Yeah.
Because we have one of your favorite recurring guests here to read some listener stories from you. And if you have a story of high strangeness that has happened to you or somebody you know, we want you to write in to us at BigfootCollectorsClub@gmail.com. And guess what, guys? We need your UFO stories. Before the summer's over, send us your UFO stories. Some of these get into aliens territory today.
Yeah.
But mostly we're just dealing with some ghosts.
Even if you have to make something up, just email us, send it in.
Sure.
Hoax and lie.
Yeah. We'll do a hoax and lies elf-out story. Guys, we can't leave her hanging. Let's bring in our one of our favorite guests of all time.
The Godmother.
Comedian, author, and BCC Godmother, Jen Kirkman.
Woo! Thank you, fellas. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, man. Jen, it's been a few months since you've been on.
I think so, yeah.
How's your Wet Hot Alien Summer 2 Summer Abduction treating you?
Well, I haven't been abducted, but I've been really busy. I've been vaccinated and going places. So maybe I need to stay put more so they can come get me.
They can find you wherever they want.
Yeah, they can pull you out of any room, any place, anytime. So you just go and do you, girl.
Yeah, don't worry. They'll find you.
They'll find you.
Oh, well, then I'm disappointed because that was the reason I had for not being abducted yet was like, they're looking for me just where I live. So you're actually making me feel worse.
She was supposed to be here.
But otherwise, yeah, summer's going well. And, I really, I'm looking out for UFOs. I'm excited about all of the reports. And, it's hard to see stuff in the sky in Los Angeles. We've got that light pollution. So I can't say I've seen anything, but who knows? Maybe it's there anyway, and I just can't see it.
I think it's invisible. One of our readers sent us a video of like this triangular UFO that was flying over China last month or recently, and it just looked like a sort of a shadow craft hanging up in outer space. If I can, I'll put a link in the show notes to this, but that's what I always think is that they're like hanging out there behind a cloud, or they're just invisible. They're just cloaking.
Yeah, most of the stuff I've seen have been in the daytime. I'll just be like, it used to be when I would smoke weed and just stare at the fucking sky. So
Yeah,
I've seen a
that's
lot
usually-
less UFOs these days since I'm smoking. Well, no weed. But I would always just when I would stare, and then you'd finally fixate on like some point in the sky. It'd be like a little like silver ball or like a little white orb type thing, and it would just start lazily moving around the sky, and you'd be like, wait a minute. And then you just start eliminating, could that be a plane? Could that be a Mylar balloon? Could that be a satellite? And then once you eliminated all those, you're like, oh man, I think I'm seeing something a little out of the ordinary here.
But that's the difference between you and everybody else, Bryce, is we all know you'll immediately eliminate balloon.
Yeah, oh yeah, not a balloon. Yeah, I go right to
A given.
Not a balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starting.
It's not a balloon. That's, I mean, honestly,
I showed
why
these
that
guys
isn't
a
a t-shirt.
UFO at our UFO what was it, Contact in the Desert, and I was like, hey, there's one right there, and Michael just wasn't having it. Had to rain on my UFO parade.
That was definitely a balloon, though. Like,
Riley, stop it.
like,
Come on.
Let's make
unquestionably.
shirts. Let's
Wait
make
a minute.
shirts that say,
What if it's a UFO made out of a balloon?
That's it. The
I don't
perfect
mean-
cover.
It's an alien spacecraft made out of a balloon, is what I mean. Yes.
it's
So
Yeah,
just a little alien tied to the string and he's
Yep.
floating around?
you guys don't
That's
know where
because-
that balloon came from.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're presenting
Sure, it could be
themselves in a
from-
form that our minds can understand, which is a balloon.
That's right.
Right.
They're like
right.
children.
See,
It's
you're
like a birthday
learning.
clown. Yeah.
You're learning, Riley. I was gonna say we should have a t-shirt that says it's a balloon, or a t-shirt that says it's not a balloon, then
And see
people
which
can
one
be
sells
like,
more. Yeah.
Yeah, see, exactly. Speaking of merch and shirts, I got my Popsicle Bigfoot shirt on right now.
Yeah.
Head over to the merch shop at wearecampfire.media. Click that shop button. We got a bunch of stuff for you out there this summer, or you can click the link tree in our Instagram at Bigfoot Collectors Club, or on our Twitter at Bigfoot Pod. Guys, we are getting closer than ever before to those 1,000 5-star reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Ah.
We have 736 as of this recording, and once we hit that magic number of 1,000, we will record and possibly film some of the BCC Jet Ski special, of course, of which Jen Kirkman is officially invited to join us for the Jet Ski special.
Nice.
Mhm.
If she can make it, she might make a surprise, but you were officially invited. To this
When
thing.
is it? Where is it?
Well, it
don't
depends.
know. Yeah,
It depends on if we get those 1,000 reviews, but
Yeah.
it'll be up at Shaver Lake. There will be jet skis. We will ride them.
I won't, but I'll go to the lake.
Great.
There you go.
Great.
Yeah.
Riley's got a
record
jet ski guy.
podcasts.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'll
I got
totally
a guy. Yeah.
This has to happen. I'd like to go on a little vacation like that.
Guys, yeah,
See?
write a
Come on.
5-star review so Jen can go to Shaver Lake with us. Come on.
And
Make
guys,
it
guess what I discovered when I was perusing through these? You can just hit 5 stars and not even write a review.
Wow.
So like, I mean, I don't want to encourage you guys not saying nice things about us, but like, it's real easy. Just scroll. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, just scroll down, click rate, review, click 5 stars, and send it off.
So those count. Yeah.
And
How about
and
and this? I am a professional writer, and so I will give you what you should write on the review. Just write, this show is better than a balloon. Just write that.
That's
5
really
stars. There you go.
good. Man,
Perfect.
That's why she's a pro.
I do want to thank all of you guys who've been writing in and talking about the jet ski special in the reviews, which is pretty great. And I sent this one over to the guys earlier this week. One of you really knows how to get their review read on the air, and this is what it is. Hidden agenda and obviously political. This is written by Don't Trust Michael 420. These 3 individuals discuss the paranormal and anything highly strange, but their jokes about jet skis and the unknown whilst using vulgarity is an obvious plot to shift the weak minds of their quote unquote fans. The one host, Michael, is especially suspicious, but alas, I like his singing, and Riley Bray has a nice voice too. So 5 stars, I guess. Kisses, you sneaky devils, you.
There you go.
That's
Love
good.
it. That's
Perfect.
There you
perfect.
go.
Wonderful.
And Bryce was left out of that review, but he will not be left out of the BCC Jet Ski special if we also
That's
get
right.
1,000 patrons over on the Patreon, where if that happens, when the jet ski special happens, Bryce will be riding that jet ski naked, and we will post a video of it on the Patreon.
That's right. That's exactly right.
You're getting ripped, by the way. Let's see
Jen's
those
not
guns. Look, Bryce has been working out.
Whoa.
Getting ready for my jet ski special.
Damn, no kidding,
Yeah.
Bryce.
I should
Looking
mention
For
good.
you, buddy.
if you are on the Patreon, BCC The Other Side, you could be watching this episode right now. So get on over there. Patreon.com/BigfootCollectorsClub. Okay, let's get into the show
Let's do
now. Jen, before we get into something spooky that happened to you when you went back to the East Coast, and I'm so excited. This is why I want to have you back. Just it's a bonus of having you back. Riley, get ready because we have some
BCC news.
Jen had to pull her earphone out of her ear on that one.
So did all of our
Sorry.
This one is just a little quickie, but I thought it was cool and relevant. This is from the Clarion Ledger in Mississippi. And this reads, "We're not alone. Why these folks from Mississippi, Alabama aren't Mississippi and Alabama." I forgot that I learned this in journalism class. Like you don't write "and" in a headline. It's just a comma. So when I was reading it now, it read like Mississippi, Alabama.
It's a great
From
place.
Mississippi, Alabama are not buying into UFO report. Now, Bryce, what famous or famed, maybe you know this off the top of your head.
Pascagoula.
There you go. And which survivor of the Pascagoula's alien abduction is still alive?
Oh my God. Is it why the two names I'm thinking of are Calvin and Parker? Is that one name?
That is one name, and you have hit it right on the head. I thought this was interesting. The man who was abducted by the Pascagoula aliens himself is calling bullshit on all of this.
What?
Well, he says, "I just like to have some kind of answer before I die. And that's not a long ways away, but I don't think we're going to get it from Congress or the Department of Defense."
No way.
An anticipated preliminary report from the federal government was recently released on UFOs encountered by military personnel dating back to 2004, and its contents, or lack thereof, has some Mississippians upset. While the report doesn't deny some may be extraterrestrial life forms traveling to Earth, it doesn't offer that as a possible explanation either. "I don't believe they're being straight up," Calvin Parker of Moss Point said. "The Department of Defense could come a little cleaner about what they've got. I just really believe there's more out there than what they're saying." Parker was one of history's most famous UFO cases. He, along with now deceased Charles Hickson, claimed that they were abducted by aliens on the night of October 11th, 1973, while fishing from a bank of the Pascagoula River. The two said they were levitated by aliens into a football-shaped craft, examined, and then released. So there you go. That's just a little quick one. I thought that was cool that he chimed in because it's rare that you get to hear from people who are actually abducted by aliens.
Yeah, especially as famous as that case. That's incredible. That's Jen. That's where the aliens that abducted him looked like sort of fresh organic carrots.
Gray carrots.
Yeah, they had little carrot arms with little carrot hairs sticking out of them. It's just so strange.
I feel like if anyone has, I mean, I know he's disappointed that the government's not saying anymore, but I mean, they're not going to say any more than he's experienced. Like,
no, that's right.
You know,
that's right.
He won the lottery in terms of getting to know something, if it's true.
Yeah. And look, I think the only, there is no closure, I don't feel, in the UFO abduction phenomena, not for the people who research it like John Mack, and certainly not for the experiencers who experience it.
Correct.
I mean, you need answers to have closure, and we just do not have those.
No, we're not going to get closure.
No.
Let the mystery be the closure.
Let alone disclosure. So good luck.
Oh, Oh shit. Yeah, how about this? You don't need disclosure to get closure.
Oh, I like. Oh yeah.
It's up to you. It's up to you.
It's up to you.
Jen, are you doing your taxes while we're doing this?
No, I mean, I just wrote myself a note, but I will say I'm trying to print this story you sent me, and my printer's being weird. So I'm gonna have to read it off my computer. That's okay. I'm gonna have to read it off my computer.
No, you make us seem very litigious. I like it. Like we're working very hard over here at BCC.
Yeah, I'm gathering my notes.
Jen is also our paralegal, so
she moonlights. Yeah,
you guys were late on your taxes. It's July now, so.
All right. Well, let's get into it. As I adjust my lighting here, Jen.
Yes.
What happened to you this summer?
Well, if you guys want to hear a ghost story,
yes,
that is so boring you'll die. I've got one.
Great. You'll become a ghost. Actually, you've told me this story, and I think you give yourself less credit than you should. Because it's a good. I think it's a good one.
Okay, well, I'll let people decide for themselves. It's one of those classic. You had to be there. It was definitely something spiritual. And I don't need it to be a ghost for it to have been very strange. So I will tell you this factoids up front because I'm going to refer to them in the story. And it'll be easier if I just get them out of the way. I've talked in previous episodes about my Nana who died 12 years ago. We were pretty close. She was 99. She'd been dead for days. We've already talked about this on past episodes. I had dreams about her. Didn't know she was dead. Very freaky. Lots of connection there. When we went to clean out her house after her funeral, her doorbell that had been broken forever wouldn't stop ringing. She's kind of a prankster in that way. Okay, great. So just keep that in mind. So I am fully vaxxed. It is April and I go back to Massachusetts to visit my family. My sister, who lives in a country suburb in Massachusetts, has a lot of land. She has horses. And my other sister, two sisters, and my parents and myself, all sequestered in her house for the week to hang out. We were all vaccinated. Now, there's 3 bedrooms and there needs to be 4 for us all to sleep comfortably. So I usually stay in a hotel, but I thought I don't want to stay in a hotel, even though I'm vaccinated. What if I catch it at the hotel, asymptomatic, bring it back to my family and kill them? I'll just stay in her house. So my sister has a bottom floor of her house, and she's got this little office room, and she took a blow up bed and made a little bed for me. And it was so cute. Anyway, I'm underneath a bedroom in the house that I think has a little bit of a haunted vibe. I, in general, don't like going upstairs alone when I'm at her house. But I'm kind of neurotic and I freak myself out whenever I go upstairs in anyone's house alone.
And remind me, is there any haunted stories at this house or anything associated with the house?
Yes, they all listen. Here's the thing. This is why I asked if the episode is just Patreon or just public. Listen, I'm into ghosts and UFOs like the next person, but I'm the only one in my family in therapy. And I'm the only one that hasn't seen a ghost. And I'm just going to throw that out there that I think there's, fair. Do you know what I mean?
I've been in therapy for 10 years and I still see ghosts.
That's okay. That's okay. I'm not saying people who see ghosts, it's not it doesn't go the other way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's like square is a rectangle, rectangle isn't a square kind of
exactly.
thing.
It's kind of like, I do think people in my family see what they want to see. I think they process feelings through visions. It's not bad. It's not inferior to therapy. It's just, it is what it is. Okay. So yes, there's been hauntings. There's been things. None of it's happened to me. I just get a creepy feeling when I walk upstairs.
Colonial stuff, as I remember, people seeing colonial figures walking around.
So, okay. So my sister lives in an old house, but it was like the only part of the house that was old was the kitchen. It was a tiny, tiny little house. And then they built it. She and her ex-husband built it from the ground up 20 years ago. So it's fairly new, but she lives literally walking distance, I'd say, across the street from a graveyard.
This is what I'm talking about.
Nice touch.
Colonial graveyard. Now, okay, so I'll get to my ghost story in a second, but my sister lives alone, and my niece, who is not her daughter, it's my other sister's daughter, was in nursing school. She didn't have any money. She wanted to live somewhere for free, stayed with my sister for a while. Now, my niece, up late studying.
Look, we're not putting any judgment on people who may or may not have seen ghosts. We do this all the time. We hear the stories.
All right, I'll tell you the stories, but I'm just saying.
You just haven't seen it for yourself. That's all we know.
Sure. Okay. So my niece claims one night she was driving home from something late at night, and my sister has a barn where the horses are. Listen, it creeps me out. I'm a city girl. I don't like quiet things with barns and graveyards. Not for me.
Yeah, inherently spooky already.
But my niece is driving down the driveway, and her headlights, she sees people in colonial outfits standing in front of my sister's barn in the middle of the night. Now, again, my sister doesn't have neighbors. There's no reason they'd be dressed in colonial gear. My niece sees that. She runs inside and is like, F this S. Fuck this shit. Now, the colonial ghosts were right outside my sister's house. They were right near the window of the room I was staying in. Again, she saw them 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? I'm just setting the story that the area outside the window of the room I was staying in people have seen things there.
Yeah.
That's where they loiter.
Outdoor ghosts. Okay. So my niece Allison lived in the bedroom, which was above the small den I was staying in, not at the time, but I'm saying in the past. So she doesn't like that bedroom, nor does she like the room right under it, because when she'd be in her bedroom, she would look outside sometimes and she would see those damn colonial people again.
Oh, no.
They like to loiter outside the window of the den.
Is there like a body of water nearby or anything, like a little river, tributary?
Yes. Right across the street where the graveyard is, there is a rolling river. Why?
Well,
It's a perfect storm.
Yeah.
What?
I mean, it's stone tape theory. In other words, water can record sort of places in time and history, almost like film. And so, if you're seeing colonial figures, I don't know, it's like something left an impression there. And
wait,
okay.
I've never heard this theory. I mean,
that's amazing.
We've talked about how wherever there's a natural body of water, that there tends to be paranormal activity or even Bigfoot sightings. Now, some of that stuff you could be like, well, Bigfoot needs to drink some water. But Linda S. Godfrey talks about this in her books, that there seems to be a correlation between water and paranormal activity, orbs, and all that. But I never knew it was because like the river is like a film strip.
Yeah, I think I've talked about this on the show. It's a theory, like I said, it's called the stone tape theory. In other words, and it can work on stones as well, but that these sort of bodies of water and even stones can actually, hold information, like crystals in Lemuria. But anyways, this information can sort of replay itself back to the person who has eyes to see.
But what would they be well, and of course the graveyard is a giant stone wall, an entire street long with a rolling river through it. But it's not where they saw the ghost though.
Yeah, no, I know, but it can actually, I know, right? But it's near or close enough.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't know how this information presents itself, but I'm pretty sure, people who are observing it, listen, it's the perfect storm. Like Riley said, you've got that river, the stone, the graveyard. So, and it's the colonial thing, right? It's like, oh, this is a place in time and history that people are seeing. It's not just some like, rando ghost who likes to dress up. It seems to be some sort of, leftover image processing.
So you think she's actually, the people who are claiming to see this might be actually looking at an imprint of something from time, not the souls of the dead that have risen from the graveyard.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Now that makes more sense to me than anything else, even though that's outrageous sounding, like very, not in a bad way, but
like the river being a ghost hologram machine.
Yeah, easy.
Way more reasonable than ghosts are coming out of the graves that
obviously
are right there.
Souls of the dead, right.
Well, you know why? Because of the clothing thing always throws me off. And so that I get seeing an imprint, so there you go. Okay. So again, this is not my ghost story. This is just the setup. So I go stay at my sister's and, when no one's talking about ghosts, my niece isn't there, my two sisters there, my parents. And the first night I'm there, my sister shuts the curtains and my family tucks me in like I'm a little kid because I'm the baby of the family. And it was real cute. And my mother, I go, Mom, give me one of your creepy prayers. And she says some weird prayer that's like, but she's doing it on purpose to be funny. And, but the curtains are shut. I go to sleep and my sister said, you better keep those curtains shut because, Allison, our niece, thinks that there's colonial people that look in the windows at night. I go, well, I don't believe in that. So it's not going to happen. So I go to sleep. I wake up the next day. Nothing happened. Next night, I go to bed and I'm laying in bed and nobody did their protective prayer over me or anything like that. My parents are in bed, fast asleep. My sisters are in their bedrooms, and my sisters and I are all texting each other about we're sending each other pictures from my Nana's funeral, which was 12 years ago. The reason we're texting pictures of that is nothing to do with remembering my Nana, but it was just that there was this woman there in a all pink feather and leather and fur outfit.
Wow.
And we never knew who that woman was at my Nana's funeral. And it came up in my sister's Facebook feed. And she's like, remember this weird woman? And we were just making jokes about the woman in pink. It was not anything more than that. It was
Let me ask you this, Jen.
Yeah.
Was there a river near that wedding?
My Nana's funeral was not a wedding.
Okay, fair enough. Well, she was.
But now I know what you think of when you hear about death. You think of marriage. No, I'm kidding. But no, there was no water as far as I can remember. Anyway, so we're just joking about that. And anyway, no one was talking about ghosts or anything like that. And I turned out the light and I noticed that the curtains were open. We'd forgotten to shut the curtains. And I laughed to myself thinking, no one, if anything, I'm afraid of like a murderer looking in, like someone with a chainsaw. And I left them open because, I like the sun to wake me up. So I was like, I just noted it. I was like, oh, weird. So I'm laying there with my eyes shut and it's about a half an hour has gone by. And all of a sudden I feel something on the bed and it's my sister's cat that had been asleep and it's kind of like sitting up and I look at it and it's like staring off. And I'm like, no, do not.
Bad
and
kitty.
I just shut my eyes. And then I hear this. It is so loud. It is knuckles on, it's not the front door and it's not quite the window of the room I'm in, but it's right next to the window of the room I'm in. On the outside, it's this. That's it. I know if I look out the window, I might
don't look.
And I don't look.
Not good.
Look.
Now, the thing that is supernatural to me, and there's more to this story. The thing
If
that
you
is
looked, you would
supernatural.
have saw.
Yes. The thing that is supernatural to me was an instinct that had come over me that was different than if you're walking down a dark alley and something says run or turn around or, don't use that ATM that's, whatever, where the light's broken. Like it wasn't street smart intuition. It was almost this terror with a little bit of like divine intervention, which was like, don't go to the evil, like don't look.
That's that sixth sense.
Yeah, don't look. And so I just kind of put the covers over my head and didn't look. All of a sudden, I hear everybody upstairs go, what was that? The entire family heard it. My dad comes downstairs. He goes, well, who's that? Was someone at the door? I go, no. And my sister Gail comes down to eat cereal. I can hear my sister Linda texted me. What was that? We all heard it. And it was just one of those, you had to be there. It was very organic. No one was pranking anyone. Everyone was remarking on how bizarre the knock was. Now there's no heater on. This is warm springtime. There's cats, but every cat was accounted for. Like it was just Knuckles. I mean, we all said that was Knuckles on whatever. So I was like, my sister came down and they shut the curtains for me. And anyway, I didn't love it. But the next day, my sister was like, oh my God, I realized why that woman in pink's picture came up on my Facebook memories, because yesterday was Nana's funeral, the day we buried her. So that night was when we heard the 3 knocks. The whole family was together. She's a little bit of a prankster.
Wow.
Maybe it was Nana being like, hello, why are you guys texting about my funeral without realizing it was fucking 12 years ago tonight that you put me in the goddamn ground, like.
Wow.
So I kind of think it was Nana. My niece then came over to visit, and I told her, and she's like, I don't even want to hear, like, she was like having PTSD. She was like, it's not even a funny story. I don't want to hear it. She's like, I don't even want to go in that room. I hate that area outside. Like, she wouldn't even park her car in the daytime, like in that part of the room. She's like, it was the colonial things. So, I shut my curtains every night after that. We never heard it again. Except 2 nights later, my sister has like a water bowl for her cat in her bathroom. And it made this crazy, like, whoa, whoa, whoa sound because the cat hit it. And it was a different sound than we had heard, but it was like a big noise in the middle of the night. And we all woke up and we were all like, for God's sakes, like we were so annoyed. And my sister was like, it was the cat, sorry. And we were just like, at that point, we were scared that maybe someone, well, like the way we thought about it is someone outside looking in, because
you guys are on edge.
My sister doesn't have an alarm system, it's like you could just break the window and come in. And so, I think people probably think, I don't know, you see a lot of cars outside. I don't know. To me, I don't like staying there because I get afraid of murders. So that's my ghost story. I just didn't love it, but I don't believe in all this colonial stuff until you just said what you said.
You know what Jen needs to bring back next time, Michael? You know what I was thinking of? Remember the window tapper from Matt Cook's episode?
Yes.
There's a gag you can get, Jen, where it suction cups to your window, and it's this creepy guy in a hood, and he's got this finger, and it just taps the window like this, tap, 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 and it's great for pranks. You should bring that to your home next time, and just
I will.
scare the piss out of everybody.
Oh my God.
That sounds. Now
That
I
is
would do
super
that.
creepy.
Get a
But
little
so there's my
colonial wig
story.
for it.
That's
Now,
a great story.
Now,
Yeah.
the thing is, the next night, the cats were all in my little room. There's like 3 of them, and they were all staring at that goddamn window.
You know what I love about that story is when you said something triggered in your mind. If you look, you will see. You know what I mean? And it's almost as if it's like your mind would have put something in that window. That's why I think there's such a relationship between the observer and the phenomenon. I've experienced that too, where I was like, if you, that's the window tapper. and his little finger goes tap, tap, tap on the window.
That's amazing.
You put that on there at 3 a.m. and you should get a nice rise out of the house. But I don't know. It's so weird. It's almost as if, I guess what I'm thinking of is there was probably nothing there. Had you looked there with your eyes, there would have been something there. It would have been an interplay with your conscious and the phenomenon, and something would have appeared.
I totally agree. 100%.
It's so wild.
Wait, but if it was grandma then you kind of like left her hanging, right?
That's okay.
Okay, yeah, fair. That's a risk we're
What if it
willing to
was-
take. Yeah.
What if grandma was like mooning you? You know what I
She's
mean?
like, check it out, Jen.
Like, come on, turn around.
Well, yeah, that would have been funny at least. I knew, even if it was her, I don't think it was like physically her. I think she was This is what my sister and my niece came up with this. And the way they were talking about it, you'd think you were watching 2 scientists who just like invented something real. They're like, that's it. That's brilliant. And I'm like, you 2 should never talk about this in public. Like, you both sound crazy. My sister and my niece were like, it was Nana, but she asked the colonial ghosts to tap for her because, I don't know what their reason was. Like, she can't appear because she's never really spent a lot of time at that house. So she let them know. And I'm like,
She can't
and they're like,
manifest.
that makes total sense. And I'm like, no, it doesn't,
No,
you
it
freaks.
doesn't.
Go to
No,
therapy,
no,
everybody.
no.
It's like a ghost Western Union kind of situation.
Yeah.
she's-
Like she got a cameo and hired them to. So I don't
That's
mean to
good.
be like total negs about my ghost story, but I mean, it was weird. I didn't feel, I
loved it.
felt
I thought it was
I think
supernatural.
it's a good one, Jen.
Mhm.
It's pretty
you-
good.
And
And you just gotta like, no one's gonna just tell the story as is.
yeah,
I
still,
know.
still to this
Creepy.
day, still to this day, I'll do it tonight. I have a little shade in my bedroom, and if there's that much, and if it's that far above the glass pane, and I can see that, I close it.
Oh yeah.
I don't want to see that much glass pane to
Oh,
the
yeah.
outside world. And if the closet isn't that closed all the way, I close it before I go to bed.
Because if you
Curtains drawn.
look, you will see.
Yeah.
Yep.
And hell no.
Yeah, no.
Mm-mm.
You gotta draw those drapes
Gotta
and
draw
avoid the
those drapes.
grays.
Yeah, no.
The grays, that's right.
Oh my God.
Okay, all right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we're gonna have some listener stories that are similar to the ones that Jen told us, ghost stories from our dear Club Scouts, and more. We'll be right back.
Okay, cool. Should we just keep charging
Let's keep
through?
going.
Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
hey, patrons, this is only you will see.
I'm gonna
this.
run and get some candy. I'll be right back.
Do it.
Ben's getting candy. This is a fun little,
Yeah, it's seeing breaking the fourth wall here.
Too
Hey,
bad we
everybody.
can't engage with them to be like, live, like ask us a question now.
I mean, we could do that. We just have not done.
Riley-
The technology exists. It's what's pretty much on me.
Riley, where's the Bigfoot plaster cast that we haven't seen in over a year? You have two. You have the Shipton Yeti cast.
See it? There's one right there.
Mm-hmm.
There's that one there, and then the other one. You can't. It's on the other wall. It's over there.
Mm.
You can't see it.
We still have not been back in the club.
Hey, you guys got to
Yeah.
come back soon.
Talking
Yeah.
about maybe the next episode we will be in there.
And
I've
I've
been
got my
keeping-
plaster cast from Expedition Season 2, taken off that near that trestle bridge in Washington.
cool.
Oh, like the one. You have one of those now?
Yeah, I'll show it. Hold on.
Oh, that's cool. Man, talk about a souvenir from a job. That's epic.
Jen, your studio's very cute.
What's that?
Your studio's very cute.
Isn't that crazy?
It's perfectly
Whoa.
arranged.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
What is
You-
that? Is that's a big
That's a Bigfoot plaster cast taken from Season 2 of Expedition Bigfoot. We're hot on the trail, Jen Kirkman. Hot on the trail.
That is pretty crazy.
I like that you went to get candy and Bryce went to get a Bigfoot plaster cast.
We're like 12-year-olds.
That
What
makes
kind of
sense.
candy do you
Yeah, we
have,
are.
That
Jen?
makes sense.
What is
Black,
that?
black licorice nubs,
Oh.
Who are you?
gummy Skittles,
Oh.
and fruit salad.
What the
gummies.
fuck?
Those
She
are the
got
best.
a smorgasbord of candy. It's
Yeah.
not just like one
Black
butterscotch candy. It's just like a this and that.
She knows
Every
how to
once in a while,
podcast.
I crave candy so badly I can't take it. And I was at CVS picking something up, and I got some and just needed some tonight.
Do you love a good candy store?
Oh my God, yes.
I love a good candy. But some of my fondest memories are with my dad in those old candy stores in like Reno. They had the barrels and just a store filled with all the barrels and different candies, and you just fill up a bucket and so much fun.
Did you call it penny candy? That's what I used to call it. We used to call it
No,
growing up.
I don't. But you know what I was a sucker for was the little root beer barrels. I
Yes.
loved
Those are
those
good.
fucking root beer barrels.
Those are good.
And
My
give me
great grandfather always had a dish of the strawberry candies,
Mm.
the little hard candies that are wrapped up like
Oh, I
strawberries.
love those.
Yeah.
Yep.
We
Gummy
have them at
bear.
our.
Awesome.
You got to come visit me. We have them at the front desk of my apartment building.
Done. I will be there in 30 minutes.
Okay.
Jen, there.
Yeah.
So at Trader Joe's, they have the best strawberry and black licorice. It's in their little. It's kind of hard to find. It's in their frozen food where they keep their candy, but
Yeah.
it's this New Zealand black licorice, and oh my God, mwah, it is some of the best.
I
Black
bet
licorice
it's
I've
similar
ever
to
had.
this because this is Australian.
Oh, that
Must be
looks
something about
delicious.
it down there. Oh, it's so good.
Anyway, if you like black licorice, email us at BigfootCollectorsClub@gmail.com.
Yeah.
All right.
Let us know.
Sorry, Michael. I know you seem disappointed in me for the black licorice.
No, you know what? I think it's one of those things. It's like coffee. It's like an acquired taste. And I think like as you get older, I think
Mhm.
as a kid, you're just like your tongue cannot handle that taste. But as you get older, it's a little better, because I've definitely had like Well, I mean, I don't drink Jägermeister, but like you've definitely had like alcohol and stuff like that that tastes a little bit funky like that. And you're like, okay, this isn't too bad. But
Yeah.
All right. Well, patrons, Patreons, there you go. A whole exclusive conversation about candy.
Candy
Jen
corner.
Kirkman that you're only getting over here. Candy corner. It's a new segment.
Mhm.
All right, let's get back into this episode. Let's crack open these L files. Riley, you'll be coming up first.
All right.
Get ready.
Okay.
All right, we're back with Jen Kirkman, and it's time to dig into this big old bag of L files. We're going to start with actually sort of a follow-up. This is somebody wrote in who had a response to something that we talked about in our Bud Hopkins episode with Aaron Sagers.
Mhm.
Now, I'm just going to upfront say, I think this listener might have been confusing Bud and Aaron. I get it. That's what happens when you have an episode that's got just two men's names as the title. But maybe not. Maybe I'm forgetting something here. But I think they're talking about something that Aaron saw, not just Bud. But Riley, let's dig into it. What do you got?
All right. Let me get the correct window. There we go. Okay. The letter is entitled, I Saw What Bud Hopkins Saw. Excuse me. I literally have drawings of the exact figure described by Bud Hopkins. Not exactly like Bryce's Red Devil, only Bud. Sorry, dude. But yes, oh my God, yes, I have seen it. The deep lines, kind of clownish, but not hard to describe. Really tall. He started first by haunting me in my childhood dreams.
Okay, they're definitely talking about Aaron's story, not Bud Hopkins.
Right, because he saw a creepy alien, or not creepy alien, but a Halloween
clown
kind
devils.
Of guy.
Yes,
Right.
I
Yeah.
remember this
Okay. Good.
specifically.
I thought
Okay.
so.
So
Yeah.
keep that in mind as we go on.
Keep that in mind. Yes.
Okay. Eventually, I started seeing him in what can be described as sleep paralysis. And as an adult, this entity started appearing in reality, especially when I would be struggling with mental health. In every encounter, he was always just watching. Ugh. Never tried to talk to me, never would move. Literally,
I just like to
watch. And I would always feel him before seeing him. I have always been a skilled lucid dreamer, and he had me too scared to explore this ability. Dream watcher. Additionally, I was raised in a hyper-religious household, so go pray and stop freaking yourself out was the feedback I got growing up. It's not what you say to a child. It's being like, I'm being haunted in my dreams. Pray,
But you're not praying enough.
just pray harder. So I stopped talking about it. That's how you keep the dark away, right? LOL. However, I have at least one drawing of the entity from when I was no older than 11. Nothing creepier than that child's drawing of scary entities. Was me trying to show proof to my parents. The drawing is in a storage bin at my parents' house. I'll be sure to retrieve it ASAP for you all. Please do. The entity is gone now. I was told it was like a parasite that latched onto my energy a long time ago. It was an extremely eye-opening experience, as the explanation came unprovoked from a Native American female who was dating a close friend. There's no way she could have known about him, as I had never told anyone. But she saw him, she described him to me, and she also cleared him without me saying one damn word. It's a lucky meeting. I'm 25 now. It's been 7 months and he hasn't come back. I even tried looking for him in my dreams and failed. To me, this confirms he wasn't contrived from my subconscious and projected into a reality, although he can somehow dwell there or feed there. I'm a stable working professional. Your podcast has improved my life. Oh, and if you ever want to chit chat about the wild world of lucid dreaming and astral projection, let me know. My asleep reality is what got me through quarantine.
Wow.
All right.
Cool.
Letter.
Amazing. There's a lot to unpack there. Yeah. Parasitic, feeding off the subconscious. I love that.
This is a very Stephen King entity, I feel.
Yeah.
Like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Jen's shaking her head. She doesn't like it.
She's
Jen,
Sorry,
you
I had
muted
to
yourself.
unmute. I
Oh.
muted so I could eat my
'Cause
candy.
You're eating candy.
But I this kind of stuff really freaks me out because this stuff I really believe in terms of, I'm a sufferer sometimes of sleep paralysis. It hasn't happened in a while, but I don't wish it on anyone. And I can't say it's always been during difficult or not difficult, like big D difficult, but stressful or anxious times in my life or depressed. And I can't help but wonder if we have, if it's not just that, but if we have a ability to connect with more supernatural sort of paranormal
sure.
in the bad way when we're in kind of a bad place.
Well, they
And I
say
don't like it.
so.
Malevolent spirits, if you're into that kind of thing, like to come feed on all that negative emotion, you know. So
Just the idea too that there can be an interloper in your own dream world. That's fucked up. But it's, you know, I have read about stuff like that. It's pretty crazy.
I've read about it. There's
I've read
an
about
entire series called Nightmare on Elm Street that I read. Freaky,
Very
freaky
academic, very technical.
should do a story of high strangeness.
Oh God, yeah.
There's nothing creepier though than like an entity just watching you. I hate that so
No,
much.
thank
Just
you. Yeah,
motionless, just watching. It's just like, oh
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very
But as actors, right, aren't we always like, look at me, look at me, look what I'm doing, look at me.
Finally, an audience.
I'm watching. God, get on with it.
that's a funny
that
way
is.
for people too who are scared at night and think they're being watched to go, maybe it's just a bored ghost who's like, this person ain't doing crap. If I were alive, I'd be doing all kinds of things.
Try your new type, you know, like your type 5 on it.
Yeah, just workshop
Material.
some shit. Yeah.
I love it. All right, Jen, why don't you read the first one that I sent over to you, the shorter letter?
Okay, great. I'm pulling it up. My printer printed things weirdly, so I'm reading it from my computer. Okay, great. Hi, Bryce, Michael, and Riley, and I'm going to add my name, Jen. I have a quick story for you. When I was a tween, my family rented an early 20th century farmhouse that we all agree was haunted. It resembled the Sears catalog woodland model, so I think that it was probably built between 1910 and 1930. All of the bedrooms were upstairs, and that is where most of the activity seemed to happen. My twin sister and I had our own bedroom at the end of the hall. It was what you might call a creepy room. It wasn't anything that could be seen, it just had a very negative energy. There are so many times that I remember just sitting in our room, playing with our Barbies, and being overcome with a feeling that someone was watching us.
This dude is visiting different kids.
I remember the feeling being so intense that my sister and I would often just run out of the room whenever it happened. Down the hall in my little sister's closet is where the other activity occurred. Her bedroom had a huge walk-in closet with a hardwood floor. My dad worked third shift at the time, and when we were at school, my dad would often hear footsteps coming from inside the closet, but of course, nobody was in there. All of this was pretty benign as far as hauntings go. However, flash forward to many years later as an adult, my sister revealed a much more intense experience that she'd had in her room. Rather, she viewed it from her room. One night, as she was laying in bed, she watched as a figure who was not a member of our family walked up the stairs. She described it as a young man dressed in overalls and a t-shirt who resembled Billy the Blue Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Parentheses, we were 90s kids. She said that she doesn't remember if she closed her eyes or hid under her blanket, but she looked away for a moment and the figure disappeared. Although it isn't particularly great to have a childhood fear validated, it is less scary to imagine that it was only the Blue Ranger. When I have a little bit more time, I'll dig up my notes and tell you a haunted library story. Rachel.
Thank you, Rachel. Listener
you,
Rachel. Also a Patreon member and the librarian who's put together the BCC book list that you can find in our show
Oh
notes.
yes, great.
If you ever want to go, what book were they talking about? It's on that list. But what if you looked out and you saw like the Blue Ranger in his Mighty Morphin Power Ranger costume walking up the stairs? That would be some real high strangeness.
You know what I loved about that story is like, I mean, that has to be a powerful premonition for like two sisters to feel something or someone watching, to leave a room. Then you're both feeling it. You're just like, let's get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like,
I have run out of
something
so
there.
many. Yeah, I know that feeling. I've run out of so many rooms. I still do it now. Like if I feel something in my place, I just
God, I
run.
really hope it happens while we're recording this episode.
No, you don't. Don't say that.
See you, Bolt.
You know, I often have the feeling that I need to put my back up against the wall so that nothing can be behind me. That's a big one. And I don't know if I've ever had this sensation at the same time as someone else, but I know that other people that other people I grew up with and called sisters, my sisters and I definitely have all had experiences in our childhood home where we've wanted to run out of the room that we were in by ourselves, because we felt a presence. So I know that feeling. It's very strange. You can't tell, am I freaking myself out or is this real?
I don't know.
It's real, baby.
It's real. It's real.
Mhm.
Real. And
Real,
it's
real.
blue.
Yeah.
Okay. Bryce, why don't you share your L-File story for us?
Let's do it. Sounds good.
This one I picked especially for you.
I could tell because right up at the top, mushrooms, aliens, and ghosts. Oh my, the story of Lloyd's Beach. Hello, Scoutmasters and guest Jen Kirkman. Before I get into my tale of strangeness, I've attached a photo for you to ponder before my story potentially persuades your opinion with the power of suggestion.
Now I sent you guys this photo, and I'm going to put it in the link of the link to the show notes of this episode. So or it'll be in the Instagram if you guys want to check it out.
Great. I did check it out before reading this, so I will continue on. Here we go. This story is a bit long and spans over a few years and is a little all over the place, but bear with me here. Time is an illusion. Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Not that long out of high school, back in about 2014, I had a soul and mind shattering and reforming experience with psychedelics that led me to seeing a local shaman in my state for my first Reiki session. During the session, with eyes closed, she felt my necklace and a puzzled look fell over her face, which led to her asking, "What is this necklace?" It's the Taurus astrological symbol.
I'm sorry, Bryce, I have to interrupt. Is she a droid from Star Wars?
Or from our Zoom chat. What is this necklace? It's the Taurus astrological symbol, I replied. She gripped it tight and said she was seeing beings with a beautiful people with skin a beautiful shade of blue and almost snow white hair as she moved her hand near the necklace. As she stood in silence in this position a little longer, she said that she was being shown a cluster of stars. Pleiades, they're telling me. And they're a big player in what they're calling the Galactic Federation. After basically vibrating out of my skin at this statement and the session comes to a close, I looked up Pleiades and very much to my surprise, Pleiades in the fucking Taurus constellation? The next day, a friend who had brought me to this mystical woman told me I should look into my astrological birth chart, and what we discovered blew my mind. My sun, moon, and rising signs were all in Taurus, which to my knowledge is very rare, that those three houses all have the same sign, and thus my interest in extraterrestrial beings exploded. Now, fast forward a couple of years, my friends and I are out on some of our favorite stomping grounds called Lloyd's Beach, a beautifully dark, remote beach overlooking the Saconet Sound on one side and the Atlantic Ocean. That night, I knew clear, dark skies, remote location, water, and a wee bit of mushroom tea was the perfect recipe for some high strangeness activity. When we all passed the mason jar of tea around, I sat back, closed my eyes, and sent out some thoughts. Quote, "If there is any beings out there right now, we are open to you showing yourselves. We mean no harm. We are in awe of your existence." End quote. And just as I sat back and took another sip, right in front of us, no more than a few hundred feet, a burst of greenish blue fire burst just above the water like a beach ball-sized fireball. We all looked at each other, bewildered. And when we looked back towards where we saw the flames, across the Saconet Sound, we saw a small red-orange light almost swaying back and forth like in a lazy infinity symbol. We all started talking about what it could be. Airplane? No way. With that movement pattern? Helicopter? Nope. We are close enough that the sound would travel across the water. And just as we think that, we all get the feeling we are being, tonight's theme, watched. And the light shoots up and pops, and in a predator-like telltale shimmer, a bulbous blur glows for a very brief second and disappears. After our shenanigans, I thanked Lloyd and whatever beings that may have been for the experience. The next day, I hosted a meditation and contemplation gathering at a local park for my friends and a woman I had never met. And a woman I had never met showed up. And I thought, cool, the Facebook event reached out further than I thought. And I got the feeling to share the experience, and the lady looked shocked. She probably thinks I'm batshit crazy, I thought. But then she reveals she lives on the edge of the Saconet Sound and saw the same thing that night. Now, after all of this, I'm sure you're thinking, what's up with that photo, though? It's coming up, and I'll try to be brief. Fast forward another couple years, some friends and I are returning to Lloyd's Beach for some astrophotography, and we find that a wooden bench we referred to as Lloyd's Bench that had been next to our fire pit was completely destroyed. We didn't want to leave potentially dangerous pieces of wood on the beach, so we apologized to Lloyd and burned it. While the bench was burning, I decided to take a photo. The same one that is attached. And what do I see in it that makes my skin vibrate? What looks like the spirit of Lloyd sitting in the bench through the smoke in the exact spot where we found the broken pieces. That's all from my mixed mash of a story. Keep on keeping on, boys. And thank you for your weekly antics and topics of strange, esoteric, and spooky. Wow, thank you for that wonderful letter. Yeah, that is.
If you zoom in on this photo,
I'm gonna go look at it right
what
now.
looks like the smoke. I mean, it really, you really can make out like an image of somebody sitting there. Like you can see.
Oh, there's a face there.
The cheekbone,
there's
the
a
nose,
face,
and then down you can see hands sitting on knees or the laps near the flames.
God.
Yeah, it is.
That's giving me goosebumps, dude.
Yeah.
I wish you guys were with me so you could point, because I don't see it, but I'm bad
Like
at
zoom right into the peak of
right
the
past
fire.
the tip of the flame. Yeah.
And then there's a figure sitting
Zoom up,
in the
scroll
background.
up. You can
but it
see
gets pixelated.
well,
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, yeah.
Tip of the flame. Dun,
I know
dun.
what you're. I believe it. There's something weird about this flame for sure.
Yeah.
But
You go up, look at what looks like smoke. Don't look at the flame.
yeah, I'm looking at the smoke above it.
Now that smoke actually looks like a figure of somebody sitting on the other side of the fire.
I just texted a
Tilting
zoom
their
in to
head.
our text chain. Look at this. You can really see the head when you take a picture of it.
Oh God!
There.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
That's Lloyd.
It's
That's
got
not
like one of those.
That's not a person sitting on across.
No,
No.
no. That's ghost smoke.
Oh my God! Okay.
That's ghost
smoke.
No. What the? Okay.
That's crazy,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
That
I
looks
have
like
to.
a picture of a person.
That's
Okay.
Lloyd.
This is the first time in my life,
Look,
age
hand.
46.
Wait, let her.
This is a picture of a ghost.
Yeah.
There is never, ever in my life have I seen. This is it. I've finally seen a picture of a ghost.
There you
I
go.
believe you. I see it.
Hands.
Fucking
face.
mental.
I'm adding Ghost Smoke to BJ and the Shadow Bats album list.
Ghost smoke.
Ghost Smoke.
I need you, Riley,
Tip of
whatever
the
you
flame.
did to get that to look so. I don't.
I just hit computer enhance. And zoom in
you need
and
to
enhance.
put this on the thing for everyone. This is the kind of proof I'm looking for, people.
We got it.
That's great. That's
Oh my
great.
God, that's terrifying.
It really is.
I wonder if that
Scary.
shaman had any idea of the Pleadians and the Galactic Federation. But that stuff comes up a lot, man. I don't know what to.
Arcturians are blue too. They're
Yeah.
like interdimensional beings.
So strange. Jen, do you think there's a Galactic Federation up there just waiting for us to become a class 5 civilization where we stop worrying with ourselves and that we can join them and move off our planet?
No.
Moving on. All right.
Moving right
We're
along.
gonna get into we got two more, and both are kind of epic. So let's get into it. All right. This listener says, this L-Files email has literally taken me a year to write.
Wow.
Good gravy. It's longer than 2020. I also apparently don't believe in capital letters, so I guess that's my millennial showing. Sorry about that. Yeah, well, I'll let it slide this time. I don't even know where to start this story, so I guess we'll go with I live in a 120-year-old home in a historic district in downtown Greenville, South Carolina. Weird things happen here. Lots of random unaccounted for noises, and both my husband and I have heard a man's deep voice in our basement. Footsteps going up and down the stairs. We also have lights outside that float around the second and third stories of our house and come together. Not like UFO lights, baseball-sized spheres of light in groups of 4 or 5 that we see several times a week right outside our windows.
I believe the word is orbs.
They are completely colorless, and we see them in all seasons. Or maybe that is UFO. I don't know. Unclear on that. Doors swing open and slam shut. I think Bryce is right. They're orbs. And they're the heavy old solid wood doors at that one. One time I brought home a sweet potato cake from a favorite bakery, you are in South Carolina, for my husband's birthday. The baker had me check the cake's message before taking the cake home, so I knew it was in pristine condition. I put the cake on the counter and I walked back out to the car to get some other things, and when I got back inside, the box with the cake was opened, and there were about 10 finger holes in the top of the cake.
What?
I was supposedly home alone, so I went next door to my neighbor's house and waited for my husband to get home. I was this close to calling 911 that time. We got out after that. We got ADT after that. See, this is why you need to capitalize, listener. So I can distinguish a typo from what you're actually trying to say. We got ADT after that. Sensors on every window, door, sliding glass doors. The really weird stuff is harder to explain, especially because it surrounds my postpartum months. So, content warning for the mention of postpartum mood disorder stuff. I had 2 kids in 2 years. They are 3 and almost 1 now. After my first son was born, I was in a deep, dark, newborn forest. One thing I really struggled with was separation anxiety. I couldn't stand to be away from him. I could hardly even put him down. When he was only a few days old, I went to use the bathroom and carried him with me. Anyone who knows anything about those first postpartum bathroom trips knows it's a 2-hand job. Rather than setting my son down somewhere safe and taking care of myself, I try to hold his small, swaddled body and pee. When I stood, his swaddle unraveled and he slipped from my arms. His tiny, perfect head was probably centimeters from smashing on the porcelain of the sink right in front of me. Jesus Christ. When I swear to God, he stopped in the air, at least for long enough for me to scoop him up. Didn't even wake from his slumber, and I cried and felt so guilty. Those first 4 months were absolutely the most challenging ones of my life. When he woke up at night, I brought him out of his bassinet and up to the bed with me to nurse. And one night, when he was around 3 months old, I fell asleep while he was nursing in my big bed with lots of blankets and pillows, which is a big no-no nowadays. Something woke me up, and it wasn't my son. It was a man at the foot of my bed, shaking my foot. I thought it was my husband, but then I realized the man was standing at the height of just over our dresser, under 6 feet tall. But my husband is 6'7", so yikes. Instinctively, I sat up and grabbed my son and checked him quickly. He was fine. And went out of the bedroom to find my husband, who was sound asleep in front of the TV in the living room. This was another almost called 911 moment. But as I was explaining the situation to my husband, I realized I wouldn't even have enough detail to give an officer about an intruder that I saw, because I could only see the shape of a shortish, sturdy-looking man. No features of his face or clothing or anything else. There was absolutely zero evidence of anyone getting into our home, besides the fact that we have a ridiculous alarm system and a ferocious 10-pound sheepoo. So the next morning, I made an appointment to ask my doctor for a referral to a psychiatrist. Between the bathroom sink almost incident, and seeing a man in my bedroom, I decided I needed to get myself nice and evaluated. Something paranormal just didn't even cross my mind. I thought I might be suffering from postpartum psychosis because I had zero explanation for the man at the foot of my bed experience. No, it was not sleep paralysis. All clear in that department. Although in the spirit of full disclosure, I was diagnosed with postpartum mood disorder after the separation anxiety, and therapy and Zoloft got me feeling right again. Well, it might have leveled out my hormones and given me better coping strategies for anxiety, but the strangeness in our home persists. All right, we're about to get really weird. For this next part, I actually have to go way back to 2007 in the house I grew up in. I was headed to prom and my mom decided to let me wear a pair of heirloom pearl earrings. They were old, very old, and they had these really funky backs that I couldn't get on myself. I handed both earrings to my mom for help, and in the transfer, one dropped. We were standing in my parents'... I'm sorry to say this, listener, you got some butterfingers. Jen's muted, but she's laughing. I tried to look for the earring that we lost. We pulled out the fridge, the range, opened every drawer and cabinet, pulled out the dishwasher. We even looked down the drain of the sink. Nobody could find that earring. Please note that we only lost one. Whenever she had a little downtime, she'd hop up and say, "I'm going to go look for the earring." And off she would go, tearing up the house in search of the pearl. About 5 years later, my parents moved out of that house, empty nesters, leaving the burbs and moving out to the country. And on the day they left, we all went to say goodbye to our home of 30 years, and my mom mentioned looking for the earring one more time. She has never been a quitter. She went through the barren house, but came back out empty-handed once again. All of this will matter soon, I promise. In the summer of 2020, I was heavily pregnant with my second son. He wasn't a quarantine baby, but he was a much too wine at Thanksgiving baby. But by summer, Jen, you got to unmute yourself. We need the laugh track.
Sorry, I just didn't want that candy noise, but I love it.
Sorry. Okay. But by summer, COVID times were upon us and things were weird and miserable. After one very hot August day, I woke up in the middle of the night and I knew I was in labor. I was trying to let my husband get a few hours of sleep before waking him up and going to the hospital, especially since we had to wait for my parents to get to our house to stay with our oldest son and our dog. I was packing my hospital bag, writing out my son's schedule, etc., when I decided to soak in the tub because contractions were really picking up. I'm like sweating getting through this email. After the bath, I wanted to put my engagement and wedding bands in my jewelry box instead of wearing them to the hospital. I reach up to the top of my closet and retrieve the small jewelry box where I keep my rings when I need to take them off. This jewelry box was a wedding gift, and it's tiny, and specifically 4 rings. It is always totally empty unless I am putting my rings in it. When I open the box, a set of pearl earrings, both the one I lost and the one I thought my mom had still, were in the fucking jewelry box.
That's crazy. What?
The jewelry box that was otherwise empty, that I didn't even own until 2017 when I got married. What the fuck is that? Distracted by growing labor pains, I couldn't really grasp that at the time how strange this was. After my son was born later that day, I called my mom and asked her to go get my jewelry box and look inside and tell me what she saw. I was not about to sound crazy. She freaked the fuck out over the pearls. She hardly even cared to hear about her new grandson in the moment. She still has them. They're back safely in her own jewelry box. We have no way of explaining how the tiny treasure was found or put in my jewelry box. 13 years after it was lost in a house, my parents had long since left. Now, every now and then at family dinners or when we're all together, it will get quiet and someone will just go, "Hey, are y'all thinking about that earring again?" Nobody has been able to come up with a plausible explanation. Is it my weird house? We don't know. I've never had much interest in the paranormal until moving here and having so many of these strange happenings. So now I'm always seeking solidarity. My husband and I are both lifelong atheists. We have no religious symbols or items in our home. Neither of us believe in life or consciousness after death, but this house has had us rethinking our worldview. Besides the security system, we also have several other things checked that can sometimes explain paranormal effects like carbon monoxide gas, electric, etc. and everything is up to code. I started listening to podcasts because hearing other people talk about their own experiences allow me to convince myself that it's not just me, or be thankful that at least it's not aliens. Well, I hate to tell you.
Maybe aliens.
What? Is that aliens?
Weird things. It could be interdimensional entities. Weird things happen all the time in our house, almost daily. We haven't been brave enough to do anything like set up cameras or any sort of paranormal investigation. I tried burning sage, but I felt like a basic bitch, and I don't think I did it right. For all the weirdness, we don't have bad feelings here. We love it. The noises can be scary, but they also are easy to explain away most of the time. The worst thing that's ever happened was that ruined sweet potato cake. But if either of our boys starts talking to the corner of the room or a person we can't see, we will be out of here lickety split.
There you go.
Oh, did I mention? I don't know. You may have. We live on the same block as the town's oldest funeral home and some crematorium, and only crematorium. Oh no? Oh well, we do. I have no idea what criteria produces a haunting like ours, if that's even what we're dealing with, but certainly a nearby funeral home crematorium is on the rubric. Kisses, Lindsay. P.S. I love all your work, and Grace's too. Mike, my dad and I think Steve Nealon is the funniest character to have ever been on television. You are excellent. Thank you. Bryce, my husband, and I love Expedition Bigfoot.
Great.
Riley, you are so beautiful. I couldn't even watch the Patreon videos. Seriously, what's it like being God's favorite human? Love y'all. Keep up the great work.
Jeez.
Wow.
Oh, thank you, Lindsay. Wow, so much to unpack here. What I love about this letter is she's just so pragmatic. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of fluff here. She's like, I went to the doctor. I'm checking. If shit happens, there's got to be a logical explanation. And it sounds like she's been stymied by the logical explanations of the weirds goings on at her home. And, look, the world is a strange and mysterious place.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
You know,
Very
when I was listening to this, sometimes you might hear a ghost story and you just get kind of a bad feeling. It's this darkness. This was lightness. The baby got saved.
Mm-hmm.
The earring reappeared. There's lots of love. I don't know what the guy was shaking her foot, but that could have been a little benign
Maybe
love.
Just be
Something like, hey, good
just be
job.
like, hey, don't fall asleep with your baby in your lap.
Yeah, I just feel like there's maybe a lot of protection in that house. Like,
that's a great point.
Yeah, it sounds like real loving spirits, like that are really happy. There's so much life and love in that house, and
remember, this is multiple houses. So I mean, the earring.
Oh, yes, that's true.
In a different house, so maybe this is like a protective entity or something hanging out, watching over your family.
Yeah, it gave me a guardian angel feeling. And you know what I liked about this, like what you said, Bryce, that had that practicality to it. And I just think on a small level, the mystery of everything is, I didn't know she was going to write that letter and that you were going to read it. And I was going to be on this episode, and I came in hot going, everyone go to therapy. You see a ghost, go to therapy. And I love that she was like, I went to therapy. I love when things sync up like that. Like whatever that is, that's interesting. So there you go.
No, it's such a great point. Yeah. See, it's so synchronicitous too. Look, I love when people's worldviews shift just a tiny bit and a window opens into just, maybe there's something to it. I love that. When you allow a little bit of mystery into your life, it just gets better. I think.
Right. All righty. Well, we got one more. It's another doozy. Jen Kirkman, bring us home.
I've got my water on hand. Okay. I'm reading it off my computer. So sorry if my face looks weird while doing it. I'm not as beautiful as Riley.
I'm so self-conscious now. I can't even just don't look at yourself.
You might be dazzled by what you
just stop staring at yourself.
It's the whole Zoom.
Okay. Ooh, this is fun. I love the title already. I've always wanted to visit this place. Anyway, Evil Spirit on the Queen Mary.
Oh.
Hey, Bigfoot Collectors Club boys and guest. That's me, Jen. Thanks. I have many strange experiences that I could share, but I'll start with one from 6 years ago that I've put off writing about because to this day, thinking about this experience for too long still keeps me up at night. as it's 8:45 p.m. here. This is Jen now, butting into the letter. I will be up all night. Anywho, back to the letter. This story took place on the Queen Mary in Long Beach, California, where my mom and I have gone many times over the years because of our interest in the haunted history of the ship. We've had a few unexplainable experiences there, including one shared auditory experience, just like your story from the last L Files about hearing a pub in a deserted tunnel.
That happened to me and a listener, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, nothing shook me up the way this experience did. We signed up for a ghost hunting tour that takes place late at night after the rest of the ship has closed. To clarify, this is not one of the daytime tours where special effects are running. It's meant to be as authentic of a ghost hunting experience as possible. And you're warned at the outset that it's very unlikely anything paranormal will happen, but you'll still get to see some interesting, supposedly haunted locations. After a quick tutorial on how to use the ghost hunting gear, basic electronics like an EMF meter, and low-tech things like dowsing rods, which I specifically said I don't believe in because of the high possibility of user interference, we headed down into the engine rooms. There were maybe a dozen other people on our tour, including a middle-aged woman and her friend or girlfriend who had signed up together. Everyone on the tour seemed friendly and excited. Down in the engine room, we had 15 minutes to walk around solo and try the equipment we'd chosen before reconvening in the center. I think I used the AMF. The middle-aged woman used the dowsing rods. Excuse me, sorry. When our group came together again, no one had had any really crazy experiences aside from average things like cold spots. That's when I started to notice a change in the woman who'd been using the dowsing rods. She was standing beside me in the group and she looked uncomfortable, maybe nauseous, like she might be ill. At this point, I was just worried that she might vomit or have something contagious, and I had the overwhelming urge to get away from her. I chalked it up to my germ phobia, but I couldn't shake my anxiety at being next to her. A couple minutes later, the woman went to move past me and my mom. As she did, she made eye contact with me, and for some reason, I felt sudden dread. Not just from germ phobia, but real dread. Her eyes seemed almost vacant as she stared right at me. I really wanted to get away from this woman. She moved to stand at the other side of my mom. The next day, when my mom mentioned this woman, she also reported, unprompted, that the woman made eye contact with her too, and my mom also felt sudden, overwhelming dread at how empty her eyes looked. My mom said she felt like the woman was going to hurt her, even though she had, by all accounts, been a mild-mannered, nice middle-aged woman when we met earlier in the tour. My mom and I both independently used the same point of comparison for the woman looked at us, for the way the woman looked at us. We compared it to the woman from the Doctor Who episode Midnight, who gets inhabited by a life form and can't speak without stealing someone else's consciousness. If you've seen that episode, you'll know exactly why her eyes felt so unsettling. That's when the group heard a whistling sound from the other end of the engine room. The tour guide and one other person from the group went to investigate and make sure it wasn't a lost tourist or a security guard messing with us. They came back and reported that no one was there. The tour guide started telling us about how the spot we were standing in was known for giving his tours auditory experiences from time to time, specifically the spot I was standing next to, where the woman had just been. About a minute later, the woman started to softly groan. The rest of the group suddenly noticed that she didn't seem to be feeling well. The tour guide asked if she was all right. The woman didn't respond with words. She just groaned and then collapsed. The other woman she came with started to panic. There was a nurse in our group who asked the friend or the girlfriend of if this woman had any history of medical problems like seizures or diabetic shock. She said no, she'd never seen anything like this happen to her friend in all the years she'd known her. The woman who'd collapsed was still not responding to any questions. Instead, she was making sounds. I don't really know how to describe the sounds other than it sounded like groaning, but it did not sound like it was coming from her. It was a deeper sound, almost like she was trying to growl and couldn't quite get the sound out. I don't like to think about those sounds. The tour guide sent someone to get the security guard outside the room to call for the ship's medics. Meanwhile, he and the nurse in the group tried to get the woman to regain consciousness from whatever state she was in. Her eyes were open the whole time, but she seemed completely unaware of anything around her, just frozen on the floor, making those sounds. And then suddenly, she was fine. She blinked. The sound stopped. She sat up and spoke to the other woman, asking what was wrong. The last thing she remembered was coming back from the solo explorations. She insisted that she felt fine, just a little disoriented. And she didn't understand what had happened to her. Nothing similar had ever happened to her before. When the security guard arrived with help, the woman and her friend left with them, with her seeming perfectly lucid and able to walk on her own minutes after being barely conscious on the ground. She was still insisting that she felt completely normal and didn't understand how or why she'd collapsed. She had no memory of feeling ill in the lead up to it all. Could it have been a sudden seizure or some other medical issue the woman didn't know she had? I guess so. But the nurse in our group was shaken up and said she'd never seen anything quite like that before, especially in someone with no history of seizures. We were all feeling rattled, even the tour guide, who was used to strange experiences. I remember him saying, "I have some guess about what we just saw, but I really don't want to say," after she was gone. Over the course of that 3-hour tour, the two other groups had to leave the tour because of sudden medical emergencies. One man started experiencing trouble breathing, even though he had no history of asthma or other chronic issues. He thought maybe it was a panic attack. He said he'd felt sudden dread just before it happened. Half an hour later, another man with no medical history experienced the same thing, reporting that he felt like his throat was closing. The security guard said they'd never had to call for the medic so many times in one night. All 3 people who got ill had been using the dowsing rods. The tour guide put the rods away and wouldn't allow anyone else to use them for the rest of the night. There were no further...
That's it. No more rods. The rods are done.
By chance, I'd been recording audio on my phone at the time the woman collapsed, but I was too afraid to listen to that voice memo for months afterward. When I did, the groaning sounds didn't sound exactly the way I'd remembered, like the phone hadn't picked it all up. Thinking maybe I'd remembered it worse than it was, I asked my mom to describe that experience with the woman again, and unprompted, she said, "I remember she didn't sound like herself when she was making those noises." I didn't listen to it again for years because even the audio I did pick up was too unnerving. Last year, I had the urge to listen to it again. Maybe I wanted to convince myself that it wasn't really as bad as I remembered. When I went to find the recording, all my other voice memos from over the years were still there, but that file from that night was gone. Anyway, that's my Queen Mary L file. Thanks for the great show and for giving people a space to share their experiences. Love you guys.
Wow. Cool. Thank you for that wonderful letter.
That reminds me of Donna Lynn's story about being in the haunted museum that Zach Baggin has in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And there was like some weird. He's got all those, like, haunted artifacts. This is like the opposite of the character in that found the pearl earring. I don't like whatever this is.
Yeah, it was like it got dark again. That is
Don't fuck around with that shit. No.
I mean, guaranteed way to.
Rods?
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
Dowsing rods are L-shaped. They could be metal rods, or even
they were Y-shaped.
Well, they could be Y-shaped, or they could be. You could have 2 of them that are like in the shape of an L.
That's true. That's
either
right.
Either way, you hold them in both hands. And in old frontier towns and settlers, they used to use them to find water. So the rods would, when they're holding them, they hold them parallel. And when they find water, they would walk around. A lot of people thought it was superstition, but I'll be damned, did they work? And when they would come across water, the rods would cross, right? So yeah, the user does play a role. It's like it's almost as if your subconscious is tapping into a nearby energy source, whether it be water or whatever, and then the rods will sort of move. And or if it was a Y one, it would point down to the ground.
That's what I was thinking, but I forgot.
So it's like a Ouija board phenomenon.
It's like a Ouija board for energy. Exactly. Only you hold them in your hand, and very crazy.
They supposedly like react to stuff, and I know they use it in paranormal.
I don't like it because I feel like you're making yourself a conductor almost for things to come into you, but how do you get them out?
Oh, that's a great analogy for it. Yeah, it sounds like they became a power source for whatever sort of evil entity was roaming around on that ship. Yeah, the Queen Mary. It's known to be haunted, and not in a great way.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say too, is like guaranteed way to piss off a ghost is to like have nightly tour groups. So it's like of course that ghost is gonna like cause some seizures. It's just like enough, like not again. Your fucking dowsing rods coming in here.
Yeah, it's funny. I love all this strange shit, aliens, UFOs, mysticism, esoterica, but it's like that the idea of that possession, just fucks. I don't like it. I don't like it. It sounds like that's what took place. A little bit of a little micro possession there.
Yeah. Any of that speaking in tongues kind of vibe too, the like grunting, the kind of stuff. It's just like, oh God, no, please never.
I mean, if you're gonna do a haunted tour like that, you should, find some sort of protection, whether it's, some herbs and spices, brute cologne, or
some Axe body spray.
I'm bringing a giant cross with me.
Yes, totally.
Carry it on your back.
I wonder if it's like the ghost of someone who had like some kind of, bizarre olden times bowel disease or seasickness. Like maybe it's just old timey sickness they were getting.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
I'm just trying to clear the air of devil thoughts.
Would you ever do a ghost tour, Jen?
Oh yeah, I love that stuff. I'd be freaking out, but I'd love it.
Yeah, that's right. John Tenney wants to take us all on a ghost tour. That would be fun. Something like that. I've never done one like a real legit one. It'd be pretty fun.
I would have to have like a very big trust. Like nobody can fuck with me.
Yeah.
And if I have to run out, I have to run out.
Yeah.
And I've seen Jen run out of a room before. Now that I think about it,
you have.
We went to Disneyland and we're at California Adventure. Have we told this story on the podcast before?
I don't think so. I don't know.
I've never heard it.
Jen and I were at Disneyland. Have a panic attack, and I was like, I can't even risk it.
Jen and I were at Disneyland. We were at Soaring Over California. And because she's like, won't do any of the thrill rides. And if you've ever been on Soaring, it's
so lame.
You're in like ski lift chairs almost. They lift you maybe 5 feet off the ground.
Yeah, it's a ski lift in front of an IMAX screen, right?
It's just a pretty, like you're flying over California or the world. It's so fun. It's so relaxing. And I got her all the way in the room. We were with another friend of mine, and we're just about to like sit down and buckle up when what was it that caught your attention? You were just like, wait a minute, what's happening? I have to buckle in. And then like
we sat down and I go, oh, everything you were saying to describe how pleasant it was making it worse. Like, no, you feel like you're flying. I was like, yeah, no, I don't want to feel that way. And we sat down and I was like, I'm going to go. And then there was a man next to me because there was a child next to me. And he literally was like, you're scaring my child. I feel like he said you're scared. And I was like, I'm going to go. And you're like, Jen, it's fine. It looked like we'd had some kind of fight or something.
Like the lights were about to go down. Yeah. Like you were in more danger of getting hit in the head by this machine. Well, she just ran right out of the room.
That's the beauty of a panic attack. If I had thought to bring like Xanax or Klonopin or something with me that day, I could have popped one and been fine. But those kind of sensations, they induce like a weird panic attack. And if I'm stuck up there, you're gonna have to deal with me hyperventilating.
She also piloted the Millennium Falcon, and then I felt like was hitting everything. And then after we got done, I was like, well, how was that? And you were like, I don't know. I had my eyes closed the entire time. I was like, I don't want her crashing into everything you're supposed to be driving.
Yeah, I'm not fun to take to stuff like that, even though I'm having fun in my own weird way. So I'll probably be awful to go.
Now I imagine like
with.
two like young kids in the back, like who got to do like the gunner buttons, and they're like jealous that Jen has the pilot seat, and she's just,
Yeah, exactly.
I waited all line to be the pilot.
My
Jen's
eyes were shut. It was so realistic. Oh my goodness.
Pretty
You
cool.
cool.
really feel like you're in space.
Well, Godmother,
Yes.
what would you like to plug for everybody? Where can people find you and find your work?
Well, just follow my podcast. It's called No Fun, the Jen Kirkman podcast. Every Wednesday comes out for free. They can listen. And I have a new podcast coming out in the fall about anxiety. And I'm sure many people would love to
What?
listen to it. Yeah, but it's not coming out till October 6th. So stay tuned. I'll plug it then.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Bryce Riley, anything to plug?
No, nothing, Bryce. I mean, just follow me on Instagram, Peace Drone. You can see more pictures of me.
Yes.
Yeah, or not, because it's too much to
Just-
handle.
Oh my God! Wow, that really caught me off guard. I got to say, and then I mean, you could be watching this episode. If you're not watching it, you could join the Patreon, the other side, and I really think you would enjoy it. You could see all these lovely people here with me having a lovely time, and so much more. So join the Patreon. You won't regret it. I promise.
Mm-mm.
Amen.
Sounds good. Follow me at McMills on Instagram. Bryce, what do you got?
Oh, I was just going to say, if you're getting back together with friends again and you're vaxxed and looking for a good social night, try my game, Dirty Picture Cover Up. Just go to thedpcugame.com. Get yours. I mean, I promise you will never laugh so hard. It's so much fun.
Mhm.
Get those game nights going again.
Speaking of laughing, guys, everyone smile for the camera because I need to get a picture for our Instagram.
Oh,
at
yeah. I
Bigfoot
always
Collectors Club.
hate the, yeah, you
I
always
always
choose
forget. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, got it.
Great.
Great. That's awesome. Jen, we're actually going to stick around and thank some patrons. You can you can go away now, or you're welcome to hang out and eat more candy if you want to.
I'm
if
going to
not,
go do some things before bed.
great.
Sage.
Good
All right.
luck. Yeah,
Love y'all.
exactly.
Jen,
Pledge your
thank
place.
you so much. We love you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hugs
Jen.
soon. Miss you guys. Bye.
Bye.
I'll email you the thing, the audio file.
Yeah, we are
Video. Oh, good.
recording resumed.
Got it. All right. Well, we just say goodbye to Jen. And we're going to do some Patreon shout outs. These are thank you to all the people who joined us since our last L-Files episode. So boys, get ready with your thank yous, because
Great.
here we go. Kennedy Ray,
Thank you.
Gavin Lockley,
Thank you.
Derek Hill,
Thanks, Derek.
Ben T,
Thanks, Ben.
Peyton Call,
Thank you.
Mary Vicky,
Thank you.
Hannah Blecker,
Thank you.
Carlos Moran,
Thank you.
Annie Kyle Pollock,
Thank you, Annie.
Hannah,
Thanks.
Mike Levy,
Thank you.
Floyd Rock,
Thanks, Floyd.
maybe my favorite name on the list,
That's a
Shayna
good name.
Smith,
Thanks, Shayna.
Allison,
Thank you, Allison.
Dallas Cordell,
Thank you.
Brian, Dylan Bribb,
Thank you.
Anna,
Thank you, Anna.
Sarah,
Thank you.
Kylie McCormick,
Thank you, Kylie.
Joe,
Thanks, Joe.
Peasant,
Thank you, peasant.
That's
Sarah
fun.
Somerville,
Thank you.
Cara Ross,
Thank you.
Tho Papa Dugan,
Thank you, Tho Papa.
Stephen Guerrero,
Thanks, Stephen.
Mike Minnick,
Thank you.
Ashley,
Thanks.
Rob,
Thanks.
Helena Newberry Grabbed,
Thank you, Helena.
Meg Oak,
Thanks, Meg.
Melamy Arbus,
Thank you.
Travis Whitlock,
Thanks, Travis.
Did Santos,
Thank you.
Maria Vangelston,
Thank you.
Van Gettelston.
Thanks either way.
Probably got that one wrong. I'm sorry, Maria.
That's
Gigi,
Thank you.
Anthony Golden,
Thanks, Anthony.
Stephen Coombs, or
Thanks, Stephen.
Combs, Brandon Lee,
Thank you.
Chance,
Thanks, Chance.
Laner Boo,
Thank you.
Glenn Spalding,
Thank you.
Dexter 47,
Thank you, Dexter.
Andrew Leslie,
Thanks, Andrew.
Rob Ritter,
Thanks, Rob.
Trevor Fountain.
Thank you, Trevor.
I think it was actually Trevi Fountain, and then it auto-corrected it. So Trevi Fountain, thank you.
Thanks, Trevi.
It's the famous 3 coins in a fountain. Christina Estrada.
Thank you.
Courtney Dale Noel Mitchener.
Thank you.
Maybe that's 2 people. Maybe it's Courtney Dale and Noel Mitchener. Thank you either way.
Thank you both.
Aaron Bletch.
Thank you.
Derek Culpa-Winger.
Thanks, Derek.
Elijah Ball.
Thanks, Elijah.
Sabrina Android.
Thank you, Sabrina.
Sophie Rubio.
Thank you, Sophie.
Josh Harrison.
Thanks, Josh.
Alex Northrup.
Thank you.
Aaron Corey.
Thank you.
Kim Van Horn.
Thanks, Kim.
Adam Smith.
Thanks, Adam.
Emily Lockhart.
Thank you.
Marie Magampet. That's what
Thank
it is.
you,
Marie Magampet.
Thank you, Marie M.
EV.
Thanks, EV.
Yvonne. Now it says Yvonne Broken, and I feel like that is a autocorrect that I didn't catch. So I'm going to say Yvonne. Thank you, Yvonne.
Thank you.
Jessica Cooper.
Thank you.
Keenan Derby.
Thanks, Keenan.
Jude Temple.
Thank you, Jude.
Shelby Barlow.
Thank you.
Lydia Fleshman.
Thank you, Lydia.
Eric Beasley.
Thanks, Eric.
Daniel Marion.
Thank you.
David McGreevy.
Thank you.
And Dunst.
Thanks, Dunst.
Thanks, Dunst. Thanks, everybody.
Wow, so many.
like
God,
So
you guys are
many
the best.
amazing Patreons.
Best.
Thank
Welcome.
you, Patreons.
Yes, welcome.
so
You'll enjoy
much.
it.
You are
Thank you,
saving
guys.
Bigfoot Collectors Club
And the entire
Lord.
patron system.
and the entire patron system.
All right, everybody. If you stuck around this long, we'll see you next week with a brand new episode. Until then, good night.
And go get regressed.
All right, fellers. That was
Nice.
good.
Sorry, I didn't think you were going to stop recording until
No, it's okay.
then.
I didn't know if it was heard it.